Okay. And so do you have that app on your phone?
Yes.
You have your phone with you?
Yes.
Can you pull it out? I just want to see if you can confirm when his appointment was.
Okay, so on November 13th, I said, hey, my ETA is 8:30.
Okay, so that was a Monday, November 13th. That's yes?
Yes.
Okay, all right. And so, do you have a name for your mixture that you call your alcohol and Clubman mixture?
I just say disinfectant or alcohol just to make it easier because it's part aftershave. So I really just call it just aftershave because I like for it to have.
Thank you. All right, Mr. Stradley and Mr. Sneed, please raise your right hands. You solemnly swear from the testimony about to give this man with the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. Mr. Sneed?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Stradley?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, thank you. Okay, and so, Mr. Quartz, if you're okay with that, I'm just going to kind of summarize for a moment. So Mr. Quartz or Mr. Sneed stated that the reason he tested positive for alcohol was because he received a haircut and a shave.
Aftershave lotion.
Or sorry, aftershave was alcohol, only alcohol, if I recall correctly, right? It was pure alcohol.
Yeah, so I do my research throughout this week.
Hold on, sir, hold on. Your testimony last week was that you had pure alcohol put on your face and your hair, your head.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. And so because of that, Mr. Sneed tested positive for alcohol on the tether. And refresh my recollection again, sir, your haircut was at 8 p.m.?
Yeah, you didn't get
Yes.
to 8:30, yes, Your Honor.
Your haircut started at what time?
8:30,
And when was your haircut complete?
about 9:15.
Mr. Quartz, did you want to ask Mr. Stradley any questions?
If you allow, yes, Your Honor.
Yes, okay.
Sir, if I might ask, are you trained to identify what could cause this device to go off?
Yes, sir.
And do you believe that training has equipped you to determine all causes that would trigger this device?
That training is the. I'm sorry.
Oh, specifically, I guess I should ask. Do you feel that your training and experience have equipped you to definitively answer the question if a large amount of aftershave on the face and hair on the head as well could trigger this device?
It could, yes.
That's all I have, Your Honor.
So your testimony, Mr. Stradley, is that pure alcohol on the face and the head of Mr. Sneed could give a positive result on the alcohol tether on his ankle.
My apologies, Your Honor. The court misinterpreted, so did the attorney, and I misanswered. My response was yes. I can dictate the difference between the two. That's correct. However, in this instance, we have multiple peaks to a point, Your Honor. There's been multiple studies done as far as the absorption of alcohol through the skin. It's just not. It's just to get to these levels in this kind of time is not a feasible thing, Your Honor. We have multiple individuals that are barbers, nurses, etc. Their hands are in contact with alcoholic substances all day long, to include bartenders, and we don't have these kind of issues.
Okay. So I think that was some clarification on that. The court asked a question based upon your question. And so Mr. Quartz, do you have more questions now?
If I may, Your Honor.
Yes.
Sir, are you familiar with a Barton Morris?
I'm familiar with the firm, yes, sir.
Okay.
I'm sorry, a what?
Barton Morris. I could spell it for the record.
Yes, please.
BARTON space MORRIS.
Is that a person or?
Yeah, it is a person that would normally testify in these matters. Unfortunately, my client can't afford that. And I don't know if now is the time to address a preliminary question, Your Honor, about this, or you want to proceed?
Okay, and so Barton Morris is a person.
Yes, Your Honor. Sir, are you aware that others may hold a contrary opinion relating to this issue?
I'm not aware of,
Counsel,
I'm aware of the data
I'm
that
sorry,
courts
Mr. Stradley.
provide.
Counsel, I'm sorry, Mr. Stradley, just a moment. Counsel, I think that you need to be more specific. That's too general of a question.
Okay. What study specifically are you citing when you would say that this couldn't happen? Or is that your testimony that it's impossible or it's just not likely?
It's not likely.
But it is possible, correct?
In very trace amounts.
I'm sorry, very what?
In very trace amounts, Your Honor. The absorption of the alcohol transdermally through the skin, as it relates to getting to an elimination process, by the time the body was absorbed that small amount, it would not be even traceable on the bracelet.
Sir, do you know today what study specifically you'd be citing and relying on?
I'm sorry?
Do you specifically what scientific study are you relying on to draw your conclusion?
That was something I learned in the state of Indiana course by it's called the Borkenstein course for highway safety and alcohol control.
Okay. And what year was that, sir?
3 years ago, sir.
At this point, Your Honor, I don't have further questions for the witness. I do have a preliminary question about my client's ability to pay for his own expert, whenever the court would like me to address that.
Okay, Mr. Stradley?
Yes, Your
Your testimony was that this could be possible, a positive alcohol reading could be possible in trace amounts. Does that mean that the level would be a trace amount of level of alcohol indicating on the tether, or a trace amount that has been absorbed through the skin?
A trace amount that may convey to the tether, Your Honor. Again, the amounts that would be absorbed through the skin, and again, just an application to just to your face momentarily, is not going to get you to a 0.057 peak on our bracelet. Again, you know, as your body dissipates or eliminates that alcohol, it obviously deduces the amounts as well. So for that trace amount to be applied to somebody's face or head, to be absorbed through the skin transdermally, and then obviously showing up on our bracelet a little less than an hour later, is kind of irrelevant. I don't believe that's the case. In addition, there are 6 pieces of criteria. All 6 of those pieces of criteria must be met to be a confirmed alcohol consumption event. In this instance, all pieces of those criteria have been met. And as to the independent studies, there have been studies by NISTA. There have been multiple Dalbert and Fry hearings regarding the technology, Your Honor.
Okay, and what are those 6 pieces that you indicated were present?
So there must be a 0 alcohol reading on the bracelet prior to the event. There must be 3 peaks over a point, peaking out at over a 0.020%. It must meet the absorption and the elimination rates. The absorption rate not being greater than 0.10%. The elimination not greater than 0.035 on the elimination side. The 5th piece is it must return to a 0 alcohol reading. And lastly, it must pass the contamination test, whereas the device itself takes a sample from the environment, testing for alcohol or ethanol in the environment around the offender. If any one of those 6 pieces of criteria are not met, or contaminated, the whole event as a whole, benefit of the doubt is given to the wearer and they throw it away.
Okay. And so, and I know your testimony was a 0.057, but I'm showing the point as 0.075.
Somebody must have put that backwards, Your Honor. It's a 0.57, Your Honor.
Okay, I'm looking at the reading on the report, and it's over, the red lines are over the 0.075. Is that Mr. Sneed's test, or is his test the black mark?
Oh, Your Honor, my apologies. If you're looking at the graph, Your Honor, the red line is an indicator of the ambient temperature. The middle line, which is the blue line, that is the IR voltage readings. That tells us where the bracelet is fitting to be sure that there's not an obstruction. The bottom line, which is the black line, that is the indicator of the presence of alcohol, and in addition to the alcohol readings. Each one of those dots on the graph, that indicates the test. That device samples the wearer every 30 minutes.
Okay, so there's the clarification. So that would be a 0.057. Okay.
If you
And
look further,
so
the non-compliance, Your Honor, on page 4, number 2, it'll say peak TAC of 0.057 was established on Monday, November the 13th at 11:27 p.m.
it does say that. Okay, so in your, how long have you been in this profession, Mr.
9 years,
Stanley?
Your Honor. 9 years.
And in your 9 years of experience, have you had, and I understand that you have individuals that are barbers and bartenders and medical staff. Have those readings tested positive for alcohol consumption by using alcohol-based products?
What I can tell the court is in the past, generally when somebody's using an alcohol-based product and we get a reading on our bracelet, generally speaking, it's because they touched the alcohol product and touched the bracelet. However, that data looks completely different because the readings will go from a 0 alcohol reading to whatever that peak amount is. It doesn't continue to create more alcohol, Your Honor.
Okay. And it's your opinion that somebody having alcohol applied to their skin, on their face as aftershave, and their head would not generate a positive reading on the alcohol tether up to a 0.057. That was, it looks to be about maybe 2 hours after the event, maybe?
That's correct, Your Honor. The bracelet was at a 0 TAC reading at 9:24, which means that effectively about just before 10 o'clock, the first alcohol reading was taken. The first presence of alcohol was detected, I should say. So they're essentially that, yes, it had to meet all those pieces of criteria, Your Honor. Therefore, you have to stand behind the science. The science dictates that, this is a confirmed consumption event. We have to stand behind the science, Your Honor.
Okay. And when you outfitted Mr. Sneed with the tether, was he provided with instructions as to what items he should avoid?
Absolutely. Every enrollee is provided with a participation agreement. In addition to that participation agreement, they're also verbally spoken to. 3 things come out of the installer's mouth. 1 is nothing ever to get between the bracelet and the skin. 2, refrain from the use of products containing alcohol.
Okay. All right, any further questions from that, Mr. Quartz?
Your Honor, if I might, sir, Would your testimony change if you heard two witnesses testify that they were with him the entire time and he wasn't drinking and this occurred?
Sir, regrettably, the science speaks for itself and the data is the data.
On the subject of the data, what is your false positive rate on the test?
There is no false positive rate, sir. It's either positive presence of alcohol or no positive presence of alcohol. Hence the reason why there are 6 pieces of criteria, and all 6 of those pieces must be met. Any one of those are incorrect or not met, the event of a whole is thrown away. It's a pretty high standard, 6 pieces of criteria.
It seemed to be important to you to publish it and orally explain to your clients not to use alcohol-based products. I would assume that's because it has a tendency to create false positives.
It's not a false positive, it's the detection of alcohol. The only difference is whether it's a consumption or it's environmental.
Can you state today how much alcohol my client consumed that night based on this reading?
Well, hypothetically, if it's a 0.057, I would assume that would be like 3 or 4 beers.
Okay, and how long would 3 or 4 beers take to leave the system?
It's not what leaves, generally speaking, on this gram bracelet. It's anywhere between 45 minutes to 3 hours after the consumption is when we begin to detect it.
I'm sorry, is when you begin to detect it, is that what? your
That's
testimony
correct,
was?
Your Honor. So again, the bracelet itself is detecting the alcohol on basically the individual wearer's elimination phase. So as they are eliminating that alcohol, that's when we begin to detect the alcohol. Obviously, our peak is when they have finished eliminating and they start to stop eliminating. That's when our elimination phase begins.
So
Does that make sense?
this elimination, yeah. So this elimination phase, when you've seen the 0.057, does the elimination in the testing comport with the consumption of alcohol as it decreases in a normal human body?
As long as it meets the criteria of eliminating less than a 0.035%, that's correct.
At what time did that occur?
At what time did what occur, sir?
Did you see it meet your criteria of elimination?
Well, if we have a peak at 11:27 p.m. and then the bracelet's reporting that at 3:01 a.m. and the 0 THC was reestablished, then that would be the period there. It'd be 11:27 from the peak to the elimination when it stopped at 3:01 a.m., which gave us an elimination rate of a 0.016.
Okay, so was there testing between roughly 11 and 3, or are those just the testing periods?
As I stated before, there's the system itself takes a test every 30 minutes. As indicated, each one of those dots represents that 30-minute window test.
So I guess what I'm trying to establish is, and if you know, every 30 minutes following the read of 0.075, was the alcohol in a body decreasing as you would expect it to from the consumption of alcohol up until 3 a.m.?
That's correct.
Would that also be true if it was an absorption through the skin?
What do you mean an absorption through the skin, sir?
Would the body eliminate alcohol at a different level if it was drank or absorbed through the skin?
That I'm not concerned. I don't know about that answer, sir. I can't answer that.
Okay.
I'm sorry, can you ask that question again, counsel?
Yes, Your Honor. Alcohol could be consumed in 2 ways, maybe more, but you could drink it or you could absorb it through your skin. My client's alleging that it was absorbed through his skin. It's my understanding your testimony is you don't have a way to differentiate the elimination rate on your device between consuming it and drinking or it being eliminated if it was brought into the body through the flesh.
Well, that's not completely true, actually. If it's in the body and it's being eliminated, it's going to be the same rate, regardless of how it got there.
That's all the questions I have.
Okay.
Your Honor.
Just a moment. And so, Mr. Stradley, as to the tether reading, there's zero doubt that there was alcohol detected on the tether and in Mr. Sneed's body and absorbing. The testimony is you cannot state as to how that alcohol got in there. Is that what I heard your testimony?
Yes, Your Honor. I says what I can state is that the data supports a confirmed consumption event. How the alcohol got into the individual's body, I cannot tell you how that happened. However, we can tell you that this is a confirmed consumption event based on the data and the criteria.
Okay. And in your experience, the rapid increase at 8 p.m. until it appears to be approximately, what is that, 11 p.m., 10 p.m.?
So if you look at the bottom of page 4, Your Honor, the bracelet didn't actually begin detecting alcohol until approximately just before 10 p.m. that evening.
Okay.
And then approximately
And then
an hour and a half. Go ahead. I'm sorry, Your Honor.
I'm sorry, and then 11:30 p.m. is when the peak of 0.057 had been reached, correct?
That's when that was established. That's correct, Your Honor.
And given your experience with individuals that have either had absorption on their skin or consumption, in your experience, would absorption give that rapid of a rise on that rate if it was merely absorbed on the skin as opposed to consumed?
Your Honor, we can't ascertain exactly how the alcohol got into the individual. What we can say is that there was alcohol in that individual's system. All that data supports and meets the criteria for confirmed consumption event. Obviously, as the court knows, there's multiple ways to ingest alcohol, not just orally. So again, I don't know what transpired that evening, but whatever data that we have and collected off of Mr. Sneed that night supports a drinking event, Your Honor.
All right, thank you. Okay, and so Mr. Stradley, can I have you stick around for a few minutes just in case I need some additional testimony from you?
Absolutely, Your Honor.
All right, thank you. All right, and counsel, it sounds as though your attorney or your client wanted to say something.
Yes, Your Honor. And first, I just want to say, we really respect the court taking the time to do this, and I know that is a big ask. If the court thinks it would be helpful, I just want to make the court aware, we attempted to obtain an expert. I believe I only retained him roughly 7 days ago. He interviewed with an expert that he believes will testify that this is possible. This is a possible scenario. The problem is he needed $2,500. My client can't afford it yet. If the court was willing in 30 days, my client can afford it. If he wanted to take the testimony, carry over, and he thought that would be helpful, I just wanted to make the court aware of that option, that there is an expert out there. It's my understanding that we'll come in and explain detail by detail how the absorption through the skin due to this process is possible.
And who is this person?
That is BARTON space MORRIS. And I believe he is well known. It seemed that the government's expert was aware of him as well.
And what would the relevance of that testimony be, counsel? Because at the end of the day, your client is pled guilty because he had alcohol in his system.
100%, Your Honor, and that was his mistake. But I think there's a huge difference in in making a mistake. Many men get shaved with alcohol. I've done it. Almost every man has. Sometimes there's no alcohol. Sometimes there are. Haircuts and shaves are very relaxing. You're not thinking about it. You still, understandably, should follow the court order, but the intention is hugely different than that and drinking, and it may influence the court's willingness to punish more severely. And in this case, not only is there a text message showing that a barber was coming, a letter from a barber, so it's not like somebody just made this up in advance to come here. There's two witnesses to say, I seen him get the haircut, but not only that, I fell asleep next to him, and the other guy works with him, and we drove to work together. No drinking occurring. So this is very good evidence to suggest that this may be an accidental thing, and I believe that the punishment should be much more severe if he drank beer than if he accidentally absorbed. And if the court felt that way, Mr. Morris's testimony may be able to convince the court that that's possible.
Okay, so where's the barber? Because I'm gonna tell you right now, that's who I want to hear from. Where's the barber? Because that would be less expensive than the expert.
He teaches a class. I tried getting him in today, but he was teaching a class from 7:45 to 3 p.m. If you can set it up.
Every Monday?
Yeah, every Monday, on top of traveling while he cuts hair. That's how he makes his money.
And what class does he teach?
I don't know what type of class. I have text proving that he's in class, if you want me to show you, Your Honor. He said he had class. I did ask for him to be here today.
He's in class or he's teaching a class?
He's teaching a class.
So counsel, you don't want to subpoena him?
Your Honor, and that is a trial shirt. I usually don't, because the other two witnesses and my client could testify that he was here and he provided the letter. The only reason I don't do that, Your Honor, is because sometimes when I subpoena witnesses against their will, especially when it disrupts their job, they come in and they are aggressively negative. If the court would be willing to adjourn maybe one day for the barber to come in, if that'd be helpful to the court, we do believe he's willing to testify based on his letter.
Yeah.
Well, all right, well, let me also just say this, right? I mean, the witness may come in aggressive, but at the end of the day, the truth's the truth, right? Whether it's aggressively testified to or not.
In my experience, sometimes the truth changes based on people's disposition, Your Honor, but I understand the court's point.
Fine, you'll come back on the 6th, on Wednesday,
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Your Honor.
at 8:30.
In the morning?
Yes, I'm not, and you've been doing that for 2 years.
Yes.
Okay,
Well, at first it was at a different location. He recently moved and that's where I cut him out.
okay. And when you, and this may sound silly, but I'm gonna ask you a little, some detail about the haircut. So walk me through your haircut with Mr. Sneed.
Yep, so whenever I start a haircut, obviously I set up there. I come with a chair, a table, and all of my equipment, so hence the travel barber name. Sit down for him, I usually do a full round fade, and then I do beard, so I make my own kind of hair care product, so I use all my own stuff. At the end of each haircut, I always use disinfectant, because I've never been the type of person who want to give people bumps. It's like a barber's death sentence, giving somebody bumps. So yep, it usually goes to the fade, then it goes, well, no, it goes to the shave, the fade, any clippings on the top, then I do the beard, trim down the beard, blow dry, and then I always finish with the disinfectant. My disinfectant that I use is anywhere from 90 to 99% alcohol, and then aftershave. Because using Pinnacle's or Clubman's aftershave, the whole bottle is a little more expensive than buying 99% alcohol. So I always mix them. It's usually anywhere from 3/4 to 1/4 Clubman aftershave.
Clubman?
Yeah, it's called Clubman.
CLUB?
Yep,
MIN? Okay,
M-A-N.
MAN, Clubman. Okay. And so you mix 3/4 of the alcohol and what, to 1/4 of the Clubman?
Yes.
Okay. And you've been doing this for how long with Mr. Sneed?
So far as how long I've been cutting his hair?
Yes.
About 2 years.
Okay, and you've been using the same products on them?
Yes, I use that for everybody, just to serve the Clubman, because it's a little more pricier than the 99% alcohol.
Okay. And Just making sure that the court recorder is still connected. And you had a conversation with Mr. Sneed regarding the ingredients in the items that you use.
Just through casual conversation during haircuts, because sometimes I get into people's eyes, and then, you know, by me doing the whole beard and then a whole shave, I usually do a spray, and then I do a touch up with it's like tissue paper that you use to wrap the neck. So I go around the mouth and the neck and stuff like that. So usually when people are trying to wonder what the smell is, I usually tell them what it is.
Okay, and so you spray it?
Yep, sometimes I spray for the whole head, you know, just because it's easier. And then I use tissue paper to go around the line of the beard and then the neck and then the mustache.
Okay, and so that's, I'm going to presume, so the tissue paper absorbs more of it so it doesn't burn the skin.
Yes.
Okay. And then you do that around the lineup, you said around the top of the beard and then under the neck. Okay. And then, what do you do for the head? You use a spritzer?
Sometimes I use a spray. If I don't have to, because when you fade, most of the section of the hair that's bald, so it's just skin. So I usually do a spray, or sometimes I just do with the tissue paper. I just kind of go through, especially if the skin is kind of irritated.
Okay. And so did you do that for Mr. Sneed the last time you did his haircut?
Yes.
Do you recall if you used a spray or the tissue paper on his head?
Both. Because by him getting a fade, so people who have, because, can I show?
Go right ahead.
He usually gets a fade up to here, so all of this is bald. So I usually go around and I spray the neck. Now, sometimes he gets irritation, and you can see some of these bumps right here. I use tissue paper.
Oh, okay, I understand. Okay. And so do you have his next appointment scheduled?
No, he has not scheduled his next one.
Okay. And is it typically, I think you said it was a fill-in appointment. So does that mean that he didn't really have one on the books? And that it was like a last minute appointment?
Yes.
Is that typically how his appointments go?
Yeah, we usually, because a lot of times I have a cutoff for my appointments, and I usually kind of fill them in, because I have some clients who are efficient so far as when they book, and then some that kind of book a little late because of their work schedule and then kind of my schedule. So I always tell all my clients, because I have subscription clients and, you know, my personal clients, I said, hey, anytime that you need to schedule an appointment, just reach out to me and I'll try to fit you in. So I believe that it was a fill-in appointment because there was also somebody else that I was gonna cut. And so technically you can't book that time because it will be like 2 hours and 30 minutes out that window. So I just said, hey, I think this time I'll be free. I'll just come by.
Okay. And so do you have that app on your phone?
Yes.
You have your phone with you?
Yes.
Can you pull it out? I just want to see if you can confirm when his appointment was.
Okay, so on November 13th, I said, hey, my ETA is 8:30.
Okay, so that was a Monday, November 13th. That's yes?
Yes.
Okay, all right. And so, do you have a name for your mixture that you call your alcohol and Clubman mixture?
I just say disinfectant or alcohol just to make it easier because it's part aftershave. So I really just call it just aftershave because I like for it to have a scent because nobody likes the smell of just straight alcohol. So I usually do. So I would say aftershave.
Okay. And so are there any other products that you use on Mr. Sneed?
So I use my, what's the name? So I use I call it Wet My Beard because I make my own beard line and hair skin line. So it's Wet My Beard. Then I do my own hair hydrator spray. And then I use my oil as well.
Okay. And so is that known as anything else or just Wet My Beard or?
Yep, it's called Wet My Beard, the hair hydrator, and then my growth oil. Those are only 3 products that I use. So aside from the alcohol itself.
Okay. Does anybody call it beard crack?
That's my cousin that calls it that, so he wouldn't know that part.
Oh, okay.
He does also, I sell all my
And is
products.
your cousin Prince?
No.
I'm sorry, what was that, sir?
I sell all my products, so he has, his brother buys for me, Prince had asked for some. I have different people, because he usually hooks me up with at least 3 or 4 or more people that wants to buy stuff. I use them as a candidate for years.
Okay, okay. All right, and so Mr. Quartz, do you have any questions that you'd like to ask?
Just quickly, Your Honor, sir, to the best of your knowledge, before we were on the stand today, have I ever spoken to you?
No.
That's all I have, Your Honor.
Okay. Okay, I appreciate you coming in, sir.
Well,
Have a good day. Be careful on your travels.
thank you.
You're all set. Any reason that Mr. Varner has to stick around?
No, Your Honor.
Okay. I did learn one about the Barber process. Great. Okay, and counsel, anything else?
No, Your Honor.
Okay. So it's actually a very interesting process, right? And that and I hear that the combination of the disinfectant that's put on your face, your skin, or what have you, does contain alcohol. I also heard the testimony that you've been using these products for 2 years. Yeah, you haven't tested positive for alcohol from these products before. Right? So see where I'm going with that?
This time's different because I'm on a tether. So that's scanning me 24/7.
Right. But you also have had random testing and you haven't tested positive for alcohol from the hair products. That's my point.
My haircuts probably don't line up with my random testing. While the tether scans 24/7.
Okay. I'm gonna let Mr. Varner know because he's still here that, whether it's beard crack or not, or whatever else there is, you can't have any products with alcohol in them.
Yeah, he knows that.
So I don't know if there's some other stuff, but I also, sir, based on the testimony of Mr. Stradley, right, even with this, I mean, no disrespect when I say concoction, I just don't know what else to call it. It doesn't appear from the testimony that that would be what would have caused that alcohol event and to go up to a 0.057.
Your Honor, my only response to that would be, he specifically said, if I remember his testimony correctly, that he wasn't able to give testimony about the ingestion or the absorption, and and he also gave direct testimony that the disappearance rate would be the exact same. So I don't think that his testimony would have any relevance to if it was. And I would also just say, Your Honor, this text message was preserved in time and timestamp. It's an extreme coincidence that the time range he'd be getting a haircut would be the time for drinking, especially with his time badge for work at roughly 3 a.m. It would be an odd time to decide to drink during a haircut and preparing for work. Also, he has 2 witnesses that were with him the entire time, one that slept next to him from the haircut to his job that will testify he didn't drink. And I would say, Your Honor, that is a lot of proof that this alcohol product caused the test of the law.
Okay. All right. I hear, I heard all the testimony, and if I recall what Mr. Stradley testified to is that he couldn't testify what caused, that alcohol caused the event, but how that alcohol ended up in the system, he could not testify to. That's what his testimony was. So. You are told what products you can and cannot use, when you were placed on the tether?
Incorrect,
Incorrect?
Yes.
Okay, the testimony on Monday was different.
So, Your Honor, I think he said that he may have received papers, but he may be saying that he wasn't verbally told.
He wasn't what?
verbally told when I got my tether. Heather can testify against it. All they told me was don't ingest alcohol. Because we asked about medicine, and they said don't ingest no type of alcohol. That's all they told me.
All right, we're gonna go off record for just 1 moment.
Friend / roommate available for testimony if you'd like to hear from her too.
Okay, and where is she?
Right here.
Oh, so she's been in the courtroom the entire time?
No, I've been in the car.
Hold on, ma'am. Yeah, you're not identified for the record yet. When did she come into the courtroom?
I don't have knowledge, Your Honor. I told her to stay in the car, but I believe my client texted her when you went on break, but I'd like to confirm that.
Okay, when did she come in the courtroom?
When you went to break, I texted her. Yeah.
Okay. All right, that's fine. I'll hear from her.
Okay, could you come up, ma'am?
And good morning. Your name, please?
Good morning, Heather,
Please raise your right hand. You solemnly swear from the testimony about to give this Mary the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
I swear.
All right. And so, ma'am, how do you know Mr. Sneed?
He is a long-term family friend, and then he is also my boyfriend.
And how long has he been your boyfriend?
For about the last 2 months.
Okay. And do you reside with Mr. Sneed?
Yes, we just got a house together
And how long have you been residing with Mr. Sneed?
since the beginning of October.
So the beginning or end of October, did you say?
Beginning of October.
Okay. And do you work?
I did it this morning. I came home at 5 p.m. promptly because I left at 4, and then I was home for the rest of the night evening.
Okay, and so who else was there?
It was me, Matthew, and then our other roommate friends.
Okay.
Till TC came over to get a haircut.
Okay, and so then what happened?
And then we were sitting there, me and Prince were in the living room watching the NBA basketball game while TC cut Matthew's hair in the kitchen. After that, we proceeded, then Matthew came and watched the game with me on the couch. And then Prince proceeded to get his hair cut. And then TC wrapped up his stuff, left, and then we went to bed. Due to him having to be to work at 7:30 or 3:30, and we had to be to work at 7:30.
Okay, and so what time did you all head to bed?
We had to bed pretty 9:30, 10-ish. Once Prince finished his haircut, TC wrapped up and went in, so we went to bed.
The basketball game?
We were.
Do you recall which basketball game?
I do not, I will say I'm a football girl, not a basketball. They're trying to teach me, but I didn't have no knowledge. I'm trying, it's not working.
I know basketball, but I'm more of a football girl than a basketball girl myself, but were you and Prince having any drinks or anything?
No, I have taken, there is no alcohol allowed in the house.
Okay.
I even switched our mouthwash to alcohol-free mouthwash just due to his habit.
Okay. And were you with Mr. Sneed the entire time?
Yes, all day, from the time I got home to the time that he got went to work the next morning.
Except when he was getting his haircut, you were in a different room.
Well, technically a different room, but it's all open, so you can still see everything.
Are there any walls that separate the rooms?
There's one tiny wall, but so when you walk into our front door and it's into our living room and our kitchen, and there's a doorway right there, a tiny wall where I have our catch-all stand and our calendar, and another doorway to where the wall is probably maybe 5 foot long. But the whole time, our couch is here, the doorway is here, and Matthew was getting his cut in that doorway right there. I saw him the entire time.
Okay. And so at some point, I mean, you went to bed, and so Mr. Sneed went to bed the same time you did?
Correct.
Okay. And so Mr. Quartz, any questions for Ms. Halsted?
Just one, ma'am. On November 13th, did you witness Mr. Sneed consume alcohol at all?
Not at all.
That's all I have.
No, I could recite the game.
I'm sorry,
I can recite the game,
who was playing?
the Wizards and the Raptors. I had a bet on.
One.
So Raptors.
Okay. All right, thank you, ma'am. And so, counsel, any other witnesses? Are you having your client testify?
I would like to put my finals.
Okay, maybe you can have a seat, thank you. Sir, please raise your right hand. You solemnly swear from testimony about to give this matter the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, and so counsel?
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Sneed, on November 13th, at any point did you drink the alcohol?
No.
And you've heard the other witnesses' testimony, correct?
Yes.
Is everything they said true?
Yes.
And it is my understanding that you did go to work roughly at 3 in the morning, maybe 3:13 a.m.
Yes, I had an open shift that day because my senior called off.
What does that mean?
Because my senior's open, I'm the site manager, so I don't show up until 6. But my senior called off, so I had to open the shift and close it.
And what is the length of your shift, sir, that day? Do you know roughly?
I left about 2:30 that day, 3 o'clock.
In the afternoon?
Yep.
So that's roughly a 12-hour shift?
Yes.
That's all I have.
Okay. Okay, so you said that you got rid of the alcohol, you have alcohol-free mouthwash.
Yes.
Okay, and when did you begin that?
We began that after we talked to the tether people, because while we were in the tether, per a conversation I had with my mother about the situation, because I was the one to go fit Matthew from jail and all of that, and I explained to her that we had to go to the tether station to get the 30-day alcohol tether. And she's the one that explained to me, she brought to me, she goes, if he gets sick or something like that, he can't take any NyQuil. I said, what do you mean, like, because I've never experienced anything like this before, and I know Matthew never has either. So I was trying to also, maybe my mom is my confined, so I talked to her about everything, and she has past experiences with people she's helped. And she said, due to that, he can't consume anything with alcohol. And when we were at the station or the tether place, I asked them as we were leaving, because we got a paper from them, but it didn't state anything, like all it stated on there was who his probation officer was and the fees and the costs attached to the tether. It didn't say anything specific, and I remember telling you that. So that's when I asked the young boy there, I said, hey, per a conversation I had with my mother, she said something about like NyQuil and stuff like that. Is that true? And he said, yes, he cannot consume anything with alcohol in it. And he said, like mouthwashes, anything like that. So that's when I went home and I looked at like things that he was consuming and it was going into his mouth and potentially into his bloodstream like that. And I got that free mouthwash. He actually did get sick, and he was sick for about a week. I even looked up alcohol-free medicines like Sudafed and stuff like that because I was aware of him consuming stuff like that. And he actually went and taking things in case because I got how serious he was. But that's all we were told was that he was able to consume.
And so nobody thought that the concoction involving the alcohol for the aftershave or after the haircut,
Well,
nobody thought about that.
I'll admit, I would have thought about that. I can see where they maybe didn't, but I was unaware of what they used. It wasn't until after the fact of that he brought up the fact of we got the paperwork and that happened. He said, oh, well, TC used his stuff that has alcohol in it. I go, well, we should have maybe thought about that, but I was unaware of that. And then TC wasn't aware of the situation, so he wasn't going to think of that either. But I potentially would have thought about it. I will admit though, I maybe wouldn't have, but I was unaware of this product use. But we are trying everything we possibly can to do this and do everything correctly. But like I said, we were told consumption. We weren't told anything about applying or anything like that. We were told consumption. And then once we saw about the applying, that's when we stopped. He stopped using deodorant, our lotions. Actually, I did have deodorant for a while anyway because we had to go to the store. That's when we went to buy more. We made sure absolutely nothing had alcohol in it since we were now notified of this.
Okay. And so, Mr. Sneed, you've had the alcohol tether on since what date?
The 10th, that Friday I got out of jail. Then I got my haircut on that Monday.
All right. After hearing testimony from Mr. Stradley, Mr. Varner, Ms. Halsted, and Mr. Sneed, the court, there's no doubt that there was alcohol in your system. How that alcohol got there, Mr. Stradley indicated he couldn't testify as to how that got there. However, there was alcohol in your system. You're not to have any alcohol in your system. You also have had these haircuts going on for a couple of years now, and you haven't, other than the manner by which you were in jail for your probation violation hearing, you didn't test positive for alcohol any other time. And I understand that there may be a difference between the tether and the testing. The testimony was not conclusive as to whether or not it was consumed orally or if it ended up in your system through absorption. What is clear is that the event began at 9:24 p.m. Well, as of 9:24 p.m., it was still zeros. You had your haircut at 8:30. Mr. Prince, your roommate, had his hair done after yours, and that you and Ms. Halsted went to bed 9:30, 10 o'clock. Then the highest level, the peak of 0.057 was 11:27 p.m. So it's continuing to rise. And it doesn't sound, based on the testimony, that there's a significant amount of alcohol going on your skin. While, yes, it's being directly applied to your skin, it doesn't appear, it's not pure alcohol. And while it's sprayed in the small spot as to what your barber showed, that coupled with the tissue that was applied doesn't seem to be, it doesn't appear, and counsel, you're aware that the burden of proof is by preponderance of the evidence. It doesn't appear as though that was enough to absorb into your system and output a 0.057 reading on the tether. And then the zero is back at 3 o'clock. Now, I understand that there's testimony that you weren't drinking anything. At the end of the day, you had the alcohol in your system, and maybe I'm incorrect, but it doesn't appear, based on the testimony and what I'm reviewing with the absorption rate, the elimination rate, that, and what the testimony was regarding the disinfectant that's applied, that would be a significant enough level, bless you, to then absorb and result in an output of 0.057 on the tether. So here's what the court is going to order for its sentencing.
if you look, main ingredient in the alcohol beverage and the Clubman lotion that he uses is ethanol. That's the number one ingredient in both of them, and it's the strongest ingredient.
Right,
So they
and
might have the
the
same
Club
effect.
Man, the Club Man is only 25% of that ingredient.
But it still holds ethanol in it, as an alcohol beverage does as well.
I understand that, but your argument that, because an alcoholic beverage has the ethanol in it, and so is the Club Man, that that's the main ingredient. The testimony was that there was only a quarter of that utilized in the disinfecting, component that is sprayed on you. I understand that there's alcohol also. I understand that, but the statement that your client made was the ethanol.
Yes, sir.
The court is going to adopt the recommendation in part. The court's going to order you to continue probation. The court's going to order 30 days jail. I'm going to suspend that jail, sir. We're going to do a jail review, and I'm going to extend your tether. So we're going to do a jail review February 12th. Does that date work for you, counsel?
Yes, ma'am.
At 8:30 a.m. And then the tether will be extended until January 3rd. Any questions?
No, Your Honor.
No, thank you very much, Your Honor.
Actually, I have one.
Yes.
So you say jail review, it pushes it to the 12th. So do I just gotta stay clean on this until the January 3rd?
What does that mean?
Like, what do you mean by jail review?
So you're still on probation, so you still
Yeah.
have all your conditions that you need to fulfill on probation and that you need to comply with.
Mhm.
You also, in addition to that, there's a jail review that this court's going to hold on February 12th. If there's any, I'm just giving you fair warning, sir. Any violation of any term of your probation, any positive reading on your tether, you're serving that 30 days.
Okay, that's all.
So, Mr. Varner, Varner, knows that he has to do something different on you, unless he wants to see you go to jail, I don't know, right?
Yeah.
But I also, sir, just let's be very clear on this. I do not believe that that is why your tether reading was a 0.057.
Yes, Your Honor.
So, we'll see if you can go the next 6 weeks without using any alcohol.
Yes, Your Honor, I can.
If you liked this video, drop a comment below and make sure to subscribe for more videos coming soon.